Hey y'all, welcome back. This is the Prepared Citizen YouTube channel. In case y'all haven't read the channel description yet, just want to give y'all a little bit of an introduction. This channel covers everything from Second Amendment, gun tube kind of content to EDC reviews, bushcrafting, DIY projects, as well as like lifestyle vlogs. As you've seen, my shorts are a lot of lifestyle vlogs right now. Really just anything that I'm getting into, that I'm into, I share with y'all. So if y'all are into that, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss any videos. Hit that post notifications bell if you would. It is free and I'm very thankful for it when you do. Today I'm getting into what to consider when putting together a Minuteman kit. I've said this before, I'm not somebody that is an expert on this. I'm figuring it out as I go. But these are things that I've learned, things that I have thought of myself that I feel like are good ideas, and I'm putting them out here into the general public so that we can talk about them, because open civil discourse is the foundation of this nation. That idea was challenged recently. I'm not going to get into that. This is not a political channel. But just let me say this. If we as a country can't have a conversation, we will cease to be a country very shortly. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Number one, do you have a way to carry all of this gear that you're talking about? Do you have a high quality backpack that's not going to fail you when it matters? And are you packing the right amount of gear to where you can still move easily, comfortably with that pack and a chest rig or a plate carrier on? Just remember, you're not always going to be rucking down a trail. This is going to be cross country, up mountains, and everything in between, with everything that you currently own or possess on your back, on your chest, and in your hands. So in my mind, if your pack is over 50 pounds, you should probably reconsider a few items. Maybe that's not realistic. I'd love for y'all to get in the comments and let me know. I mean, I've definitely read military books of people carrying 80-pound rucks, and I know that's possible. I just don't think you should shoot for 80 pounds when you're first putting your kit together. This is my current rucksack setup. This is a Stone Glacier Sky Talus 6900, so it's 6900 square inches, cubic inches, excuse me. With this pack, I can carry all of my sustainability gear, shelter, water purification, 3 days to a week's worth of food, sleeping bag, and a few extra parts for things, power and ways to recharge things that take power, as well as at least 2 full reloads for my fighting kit. That's kind of the base. Right now it weighs 35, maybe 40 pounds. So that's kind of what I like to shoot for. I can shove a bunch of extra stuff in there and still be barely around 50 or just over 50. You just want to make sure, A, you have something to carry your gear in, and B, you're not overpacking or underpacking. You've got to be able to move with all of your gear on you and not just waddle down a road, but actually move in buildings, out of buildings, because when it matters, you can't just drop that pack where you're at. You've got to be able to move with it. Number 2, something that I think you really need to consider is your local terrain. This can affect everything from what you pack to where you go to what size rifle you're building out. If you're out west where there's barely any trees, you're mostly above the tree line, an argument could be made for not even a semi-automatic rifle. At that point, you need something that is so comfortable out to 1,000 meters that it almost becomes obsolete to have something with faster feeding in the case of a semi-automatic. If I lived in the high plains, I would opt for an AR-10 in 6.5 Creedmoor or 308, whichever you've chosen to stockpile. In my opinion, 308 is a better choice for now because 308 is cheaper, easier to get to, and a little bit more readily available, as well as it makes a bigger hole for elk, of course. I'm talking about elk. I wouldn't elk hunt with the 6.5 Creedmoor. I wouldn't skinwalker hunt with the 6.5 Creedmoor. I'd rather have a 308. If not an AR-10, you may want to think about a bolt-action rifle of some sort with a small, maybe pistol caliber carbine as a backup for if you're having to clear structures. That's kind of where my mind goes. Y'all tell me what you think. Definitely you need to scout out the local terrain, know where you're going, know where resources are. If you don't already know where you're going to get water, if you don't already know where you're going to go, if you can no longer stay at your home, those are things you need to figure out pronto, now before later, because you may not have a chance to later. Number 3 is modularity. You need to figure out how you're going to fit into a fire team. If you don't already have a fire team, don't get cringed out by that term. All I mean is if you don't have 5 guys that you would trust to call you to get you out of a pinch, if you're stuck in a ditch, work on finding those 5 guys, especially if they're into guns and stuff like you are. It's valuable to have friends that are in your corner because nobody can do it alone. You can't pull security all night, every night. So you're going to need a team. You're going to need friends. You're going to need neighbors that you can trust. And you've got to figure out how you fit into that fire team. Now, like I said, if you don't have one yet, you may want to think about building out your kit to fit as many different spots as possible. That could change how you build out your rifle. Again, if you know you're the lead guy, maybe a 10-3 or an 11-5 is just for sure what you're going to carry because you're going in that building first and you need to be able to take corners quicker. If you want to fill in that long range gap, you go a different direction. Carry an 18-inch SPR, something like a 3.5 to 18. If you want to be able to lay down suppressive fire, there's doors open for that now. Maybe you get an FRT. Maybe you carry a lot more ammunition. Maybe you carry the 40, 60, 100 round drums or magazines. Things to think about. How do you fit into a fire team? If you already have a fire team, how do you all work together? If you don't have a fire team, how can you make sure that you check as many boxes as possible so when the time comes, you can be of use and not just an extra body? Number 4, sustainability. I think a lot of people overlook this. They think it's just going to be a giant firefight down the street and they're just going to run out of their house with a bunch of magazines and their boxers and they're going to run in there and fight and then it's going to be over. I think there's going to be a lot less fighting. First of all, I think this is probably not going to happen in our lifetime. Hopefully it doesn't. Let's be ready for it if it does, but I don't think it will. But I think if it does happen, there'll be a lot less fighting and a lot more camping with consequences. We'll call it camping with consequences. You've got to be able to take care of yourself in the woods through every season, survive, protect yourself, replenish your food, water, and power supplies, keep you and your family and your fire team safe, have a system for that. This goes back to the packability. If you're not carrying some sort of shelter, some sort of sleeping system, some sort of water purification system, some sort of recharging solar panel or something to get power for your flashlight, your optics, your lasers, your night vision, all of those things become useless literally in a week of hard use, maybe a month. If batteries die and you don't have replacements or you don't have a way to charge them, you're just carrying around a bunch of rocks for no reason. I think sustainability probably should be a lot higher on even my list than it is. Sustainability just under packability. Carry as much sustainability gear as you can while still being able to actually carry it and move. That's what I'll say. Number 5, think about wild cards in your area. Do you have a wife and kids that you're going to have to think about in that situation? How can you work towards making any adult an asset and not a liability? Is your wife shooting with you? Is she training with you? Does she at least know how to use a gun? Worst comes to worst. Another thing, do you have elderly family in a nursing home? Is there a way that you can get to them, remove them from that area, get them somewhere safe, and actually provide them the care that they need while still doing what you need to do to keep you and your immediate family safe? Things to think about. Another big one, proximity to high-value targets. Do you live next to a very busy train depot, a large intersection? Do you live next to a water source even? We're talking about local high-value targets. For me, being on the East Coast, I live a little closer to DC than I would like. So I know I'm in a hot zone if things go down. Those are things I have to think about. Know which direction somebody will be coming from if they start there and work towards me. Know how to defend myself from that situation. Think about the wild cards. Think about the local terrain. Think about how you're going to carry all of your stuff. Think about how you're going to stay alive, sustain yourself and your family and your team. Those are my 5 rules. Going over them one more time. Packability, sustainability, modularity, local terrain, and wild cards. I would say it's those 5 in order. Like I said, y'all, these are just my thoughts. More learned from reading than from experience. So if y'all have thoughts you'd like to add, please get in the comments. Just shoot me a comment. We will talk back and forth. I love getting in the comments with y'all and talking, debating, and all those kinds of things. Tell me what y'all think, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks.